Hey there everyone, it is I, DZ Maven, once again with another Gunpla review, Unscripted. Today I'm taking a look at an old kit, a classic kit, and one that I actually still kind of like despite its age. It is the classic high-grade Universal Century RX-782 Gundam. This is the old one, the original. This came out in May of 2001. Just a little over 20 years ago. 2 decades. It's pretty old. It retails for the nice economical price of 1,000 yen. So is this kit still worth buying despite the better versions that are out there now? Well, let's take a look at it. As always, let's start with the photo gallery here. One of my wonderful pictures. Anyway, box art. Typical high-grade box art. Box is not that big. It's pretty average sized. Again, 1,000 yen. Pretty cheap. Come with the core fighter. Manual. Typical high-grade manual. Got some nice little photos on the inside of the kit. Just kind of showing it off here. And the actual build. Very simple. Nothing really too complicated here. It's pretty straightforward here. So it has a pretty decent degree of color separation, so you really won't have to really do any detail painting on this. I mean, there are certainly areas where you can certainly do some detail painting if you want, especially on the core fighter, which I'll talk about when I get there. Some more pictures on the back and photo guide. There are no marking stickers, but there are a little bit of foil stickers for the eyes and cameras, and that's kind of it. Anyway, completed kit. It's actually a pretty decent looking kit when put together here. The styling is a bit more reminiscent of the Gundam 1.5 and the Perfect Grade Gundam. If you're familiar with that variation of the Gundam, it kind of matches up with those a little more closely here. So again, as I mentioned, color separation is pretty good. There are some various seam lines on the kit that you will have to kind of deal with because it is an older high grade, like here around the head. Pretty typical marker of an old kit is seam line around the head. So articulation is okay. It's not anything to really write home about, but it gets the job done. It can do a squat down pose, even though it looks a little awkward doing so. Typical accessories, you got your beam saber, beam rifle, pretty typical stuff for the Gundam, the shield, and hyper bazooka. You get a different assortment of hands. You get one open hand, 2 closed fist hands for the beam sabers, trigger folding hand for the beam rifle, and yeah, that's kind of really about it. Oh, and the core fighter and a adapter for the hyper bazooka to go on the back. So here are just some shots of the poses of the kit. Kind of get you an idea what you can do with this kit. Now, this does not come with an action base adapter. This kit came out before action bases were a thing, so there's really no actual adapter. If you do want to put it on action base, I would suggest using the little fork-like adapter that comes with a lot of the action bases and use that. It works decently enough. And here's a look at that hyper bazooka attachment adapter. It goes on the butt end. And there it is with the hyper bazooka stored and in hand. So a little bit of posing demonstration here, and two-handed with the beam rifle. It is possible to pull off here. Another pose here. I do mention they don't give you any sticker or anything for the scope on the beam rifle. I had to paint that in myself. So if you have some yellow paint, just kind of paint that in. And here's basically what the accessories are, minus the core fighter, which I'll talk about here in a moment here. Also, I do want to note this did come with the clear pink beam sabers, which were not really a common thing on high grade kits at the time when this came out, so this was kind of a new thing for high grades. So, because I know the high grade Universal Century Gym kit did not come with actual beam sabers. I don't think it did. I think it just came with a dummy beam saber. Anyway, core fighter. I actually have 2 of these kits. I painted one up in the RX-781 prototype colors, which is in another box somewhere. And the unpainted version of the core fighter I had for this one, I lost. I don't know where it is. So I'm showing you this one, which is painted up, but this is not the way it comes, obviously. From what I recall, it mainly comes in blue and red plastic, so you will have to actually paint this in order to make it look correct. Otherwise, it's just red and blue plastic, so it's not very sightly. Anyway, let us continue and show you off the actual kit here. Yep. Alright, so actual high grade Gundam here, just to kind of give you the live view look of it here. I still like it. It's pretty decent for a high grade kit. It doesn't really do anything super special with it. I'm showing you can kind of show up the shield on the back here. Take that off. One thing about this kit is that the beam sabers don't really... There's nothing really holding the beam sabers in on the backpack here. They just kind of sit in here, and hopefully through the sheer magical force of friction they will stay put, but they will easily fall out, so try not to lose these. In fact, they're probably going to fall out several times here. But here's the kit, typically here. There's a little bit of back and forth rocking on the shoulder. You know, see it fell off already there. And head articulation here, just kind of show you here. Elbow bend is only like 90 degrees. That's all you're going to get out of the arm right there. Spin around the arm for upper arm right here. Skirt armor is connected together like on most high grade kits. You can separate that in the middle if you want, just to kind of separate that out here. Back skirt armor is fixed in place, doesn't move. On the legs here, kind of focus camera, focus. It's about how far you're going to get with the leg. And the leg, again, is kind of like a 90-degree bend. Again, this is kind of typical for a really old high-grade kit. It's nothing really too unexpected here. Really wiggle back and forth from the foot here and there. Now, the articulation is okay. It's nothing to write home about. There are quite a lot of seam lines on this kit. Most notably, in the front of the ankle armor here, there's a really nasty seam right here, pretty obvious. That's something you'll probably want to remove, as well as seam lines that kind of run up the leg here. And this bottom part here, see if I can get it in the light here so you can see. And we're kind of right here on the upper leg. Again, same thing on the back of the leg here. Seam line, and across the forearm here. I can show you how blowing it is out here. Seam line right there, and of course on the front as well. A little bit of seam line on the top here too. And yeah, and of course on the head, as you saw in the pictures here. So yeah, and of course seam lines across the beam rifle, and as well as across the hyper bazooka as well here. So there are seam lines you're gonna have to clean up on this kit, but again, that's kind of expected with an old high grade like this here. So get it off here. Now here's the open hand. I can't remember if there were two of these or not, but again, this is all polycaps here, so it's pretty easy to switch out here. So wouldn't have it like that. Beam rifle, scope moves, secondary handle, noobs. Alright. It's got a pretty decent grip, although it is a little on the loose side. I mean, it's not going to fall out of hand. It's just in the hand, it's a little loose, so it might sag a little bit every now and then. But yeah, it's not really a big deal. Like I mentioned, the only really foil stickers you get are probably for the eyes here and the head cameras. One on the front, one on the back here. This one in the front, if I recall, it looks like it's a split sticker. It's kind of hard for me to tell because it's been so long since I built one of these kits here. But it looks like there is a split in the middle there. So it's just kind of something to kind of be aware of on this here. But I'll be honest, for 1,000 yen, I still kind of like this kit. It does the job. It looks okay to me. I mean, obviously nowadays there's the revived version. There's the... Like, how many versions of the Gundam are there now in high grade? There's like several versions, and I cannot get this off. This is where the backpack, the bazooka holder thing goes. Not the easiest thing to get out. Right tool. There we go. Get that out. And this little piece plugs into the back. Like so. Where the bazooka would go. Like that, so... Yeah, so I know there's like stiff competition for this kit. nowadays. It's been pretty much been replaced by the Revive version and the G40 and the Beyond Global, and there's even the Origin version. And I think there might be one other one I'm forgetting about. I know there's the RX-78, the moving Gundam one that's in 144th, and there's also early grade and there's also first grade as well. So, but you know, I still like this kit. I think it looks good on the shelf. So, for 1,000 yen, I still think it's a pretty good bargain. Of course, I think the Revive version is also 1,000 yen, so that's also something to consider as well. Anyway, that's my short review of the high-grade Universal Century Gundam. The classic. It is classic for a reason. I think it lives up to the name of being classic here. So, put the shield on here, like that. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed and take care. Till next time. Bye bye.